Welcome back to the channel, guys. For all of you subscribers, we're going to be putting in the ENDURAPIN hardened steel door pins. For those of you that have never been to the channel before, thanks for dropping in and watching. This is the whole project is an LS-S10 swap eventually. We've got the motor transmission, but we're just working through a few bugs. And I thought I'd film it for some of you that may or may not have done some of these things before. So let's go to the table, see what we're doing, see what tools we're using, and what products we got. So again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I want to show this as a comparison of what you get, kind of get what you pay for what you get type thing. So these are the Dorman standard kits, the door pin kits. There's the part number, and I'll put a link to the description and below. You can see it's 703-263. That's one kit. It's 2 pins and 4 bushings for one door. Now the ENDURAPIN, which you can go to ENDURAPIN.com and order these. You can find them on Facebook or Instagram. But this is the Dorman. You can see the steel that it's made out of, how it's made. It's just a piece of plain steel with a bronze alloy bushing. Now the ENDURAPIN is tool steel, hardened steel, lifetime warranty. I'm not sponsored by these guys. I bought these pins with my own money. I'm just doing kind of a review and installation process because I think they're a really good product. I've seen a lot of good reviews on them. This is the door bushing that goes on your hinges. And then we're going to be using this socket and 5/16 by 2-inch bolt with a nut and 2 flat washers to press these in. Basically what you'll do is you'll put this on one side of the door. You'll run this this bolt through your bushing with you have a washer on the top of it. Let me get that set up for you. So you put a washer on the top, put your bushing on there, and then your hinge will go in between here. And when you sandwich it through there, now this will need to be for a 3/8 drive, you'll put your other flat washer on here and your nut, and you can tighten this and press this bushing down into your door pin. And I'll show you how to do that when we get over there, but that's what that's for. You're also going to need a couple of punches maybe, probably just one, a hammer. I'm using a 16-ounce ball peen. Pair of needle nose, because you're going to have to hold this pin. As you can see, this pin, when you get the door pin in, this roll pin will go through there at the top and go all the way through this pin. I'm going to be using a piece of rebar because I'm going to set you guys up on the inside of the truck, and I'm going to be on the outside so you can see what's going on hammering the door pins out. But if you're doing it from the inside of the door, one of these is just fine. If you're afraid you're going to hit your door, get you a longer piece of cold rolled steel. You can go to Lowe's and buy a 3/4 inch piece of cold roll to knock it out, because getting close to that door with a hammer, you can damage some paint. And I know you think, well, I'm good enough that I won't hit my door. Well, I think I'm good enough when I'm driving a nail too, but I always seem to somehow hit my finger. So there's that. I'm also going to use a pair of vice grips, probably to hold the pin and drive this one out. I'm assuming these are going to be stuck in the door. And the tool that's going to make all this quick and easy is this one is actually a performance tool door spring remover. It's W84603. Again, I will put a link to this tool down in the description. These are less than $10 on Amazon, probably about the same price at your local parts store, AutoZone, Advanced, O'Reilly. It takes a 13, if you take this out of the pack, it takes a 13 millimeter to loosen and tighten it. And you can use a regular 13, it may take you a little longer. It's still a fast process with this, but for YouTube purposes, I'm going to be using a ratchet wrench to get this off. So that's all we're going to need. I'm going to show you how I'm going to get the door. I'm going to suspend the door. I am going to be using a cherry picker with this is an old piece of seat belt that I'm going to wrap around. I'm going to roll my window down, and I'm going to tie it to the door, and I'm actually going to remove my door from the truck. Now, I have seen people put a jack under the door. Sorry for the focus, guys. This is, I don't know why it does this. But I've seen people put a jack under the door and try to suspend it, and that's a balancing act. If you don't have a cherry picker, I can tell you what else you can do. If you're in a garage and you have a garage door that has the coil spring with the rod at the top, if you look overhead, you've probably got a bar or that spring that bar is on. You can take a ratchet strap and run it over that, or 2 ratchet straps, run it over that bar at the top, bring it down, and hook your door here and let your door be suspended from the from the garage door spring roll. That'll save you a lot of balancing and dropping your door and things like that. And this door doesn't weigh that much, so it's not a big deal. I had this door open. I want to show you how this thing closes. You can see it's already been rubbing on the bottom, so it's pretty much out of alignment, but it's not one of those you can just let go and it closes very good. Now that one, it closes okay, and the body line is pretty good. Sometimes they get a lot more worn than this one. But let me get you set up on the tripod, and we will start this installation process. Okay guys, the first order of business, and I'm not going to time lapse this, I'm going to show it to you in real time. The first order of business is getting this spring out. And what I would recommend is widening these as wide as you can get them and get them in there, because if you get it just barely on the edge, it's hard to get it back when you go to put it back. Now you can always compress it, recompress it when you take it out, but if you do it, you can just leave the spring compressed in this. So I'm going to try to keep my head out of the way and get this done. So there are my two most compressed spots, I think. It doesn't look good to me. It needs to be a little wider, if at all possible. You may have to force it up in between that spring so that you can get the biggest bite you can get. That's what I like to do. Again, I hope my head's not up in the way. And I'm going to use a ratchet wrench for the sake of YouTube time. And there's the spring, and that's what it looks like, guys. Compressed up when I go to put it back in. Now you might set this out of the way because it's could come uncompressed and knock a tooth or two out. But now we got that out, we're going to drive the pins out, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You can do it from in here with a short punch, but I'm going to get on the outside so you can see what I'm doing. I've already got my cherry picker tied to the door so that we can remove the door. So let's knock the pins out. Then we'll put our bushings in and put the door back on. Just remember the orientation of your bushings. If you're looking at this one on the bottom, you can or can't see that flange goes on the bottom side of that pin just like that. So the big side to the bottom, and then on top, the flange goes in between these two right here. So it'll sit on top just like this. And the bottom is going to be right the opposite. Well, actually, no, it's the same. So we should be good. Okay, let's knock the pins out and see if we can get this door off. Put a little pressure on my door. Try not to hit my door. The truck is already scratched, but I don't want to scratch it any more than I have to. And that came out rather easy. I got lucky, guys. I do this in real time, and I don't set this up or pre-stage it. That actually came out a lot easier than most of them. Some of them you have to beat pretty hard to get them out. So let's take this little punch and try not to hit the door and tap it on out. And that's where I said we would use the vice grips to drive it on out, because I don't want to get my hands in the way right here. But what I'm going to try to do is maybe clamp the, well, I can't do that either. I was going to clamp those vice grips on it and see if I could just go ahead and punch it on out. So I may have to I have to get in your way right here, but you get the idea of what, oh, sorry guys. You get the idea of what has to happen to knock this pin out. Just don't want to hit my... You can see how close it is to the door up there. And that is not good. Man, if I could pull that out with my hand, that would be awesome. So let's see if we can grab it with vice grips. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll put a little pressure on these vice grips and see if we can There's one pin out. I think because this is so worn right here, if you guys can see, is why it came out so easy. So I'm gonna tilt you down a little bit. Let's see if we can get you set up. Re-angle the camera a little bit so that you're not looking at me crooked. And you'll be able to see the bottom one. My head's still kind of in the way. And I may have to get in the way on this one, guys, to knock this pin out. Because this one... Lucky, again, I've never changed any that came out that easy. So, I'm sorry for you that's going to have to go through the hassle of beating and beating and beating. And maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. Let's see if we can maybe do the same thing with this one. May have to take a little more pressure. Yeah, take a little more pressure off my door. Pick it up just a little. And that may be the reason why it came out so easy. Is I have my door in a line and you get weight on this door. Yeah, I think that made the big difference, having my door completely hung on the cherry picker, because you can see the pins never moved. They were in perfect alignment. When you start getting weight on them and getting them crooked, and it makes it hard for the door to come off. So I'm gonna slide this door out, and I may have to set you back up. Now, I can just let my door hang, and let me take you off the tripod. And you can see, notice how your bushings, for those of you that might get, once you get these out, it's hard to remember, but if you'll notice, the flat part of that bushing, I can't push it out with my hand. Probably can't push this one out with my hand either. But that bushing sits in there like this, with the big flat end on bottom, and the top one is right reverse. And then on your door, I know it's dark, but on the door it's the same. It's the same way, but it's on the door side of the hinge. So the flat part's on top, and the flat part's on the bottom of the hinge on that one. So let me get you set up again. Let's see if we can do this without having to move you around a ton. Get it to focus. And I'll show you. Sorry guys. Alright. And I'll show you how to press these in. Should have grabbed a flathead screwdriver, and then I could have just prized these out. These holes right here are a little egged more than I would like, and any other time I would weld them up, but I'm going to go ahead and put these in and show you guys how to do this, and we'll get this door hung, and maybe later I'll weld up the holes because I'm a little OCD about stuff like that. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to get your bushing as square as you can get it to the hole. Take your 5/16 by 2 inch. You're going to put it through the bushing. Pull it straight. Now I'm using a 13 millimeter for a 3/8 drive socket. And don't bash me in the comments because I'm not going to go get 2 1/2 inch sockets. I'm going to use the 2 13s I got to press this in. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this is as square as I can get it to that hole. Then we will take our 13. And voila, number 1 is in. We'll drop our other one on there, bottom hole. I didn't think of this, guys. I mean, I've done stuff like this before, but ENDURAPIN actually, this is how they recommend or tell you, just give you some pointers on how to put these in. So I'm just kind of giving you I'm just kind of showing you what the pictures show you. And if your holes are good, and see that one kind of just went in. If your holes are good and tight and round and not egg-shaped from years of wear, these pins, these door bushings won't go in that easy. So let me, I'm going to do the same thing on the door side. I'm going to cut you off, and I'll get you back on when we start lining the door up. And that'll save us a little time. I don't want to put it on the door because exactly what I did here, now you're going to do, let me just take you off and show you exactly what I did right here. You can see the flat boss goes on the top side and the flat boss goes on the bottom on the top hinge. Same thing for the door. So on the door, you're going to have the flat boss on the top, the flat boss on the bottom on the door side. So I'm going to get these 2 bushings in. We will hang the door back up and drive the pins in, put the roll pins in, and we'll be done. Stay tuned. Okay guys, the pins are in, as you can see. A little dark down here, but you can see. One thing I want to point out to you, what I did, is you see the hole for the roll pin. I turned them to the outside, and do that before you start driving the pin in, because this knurl part, once you get it started, you can't turn it. But I drove it down and put the pin holes to the outside so that I could drive the pins in, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take a pair of needle nose and hold these and drive them in, and then we'll put the spring back in, and we'll test the door. So let me drive these pins in, these roll pins in, and I will show you how to put the spring back in, and then we will test the door, and that'll end the video. So stay tuned. Okay guys, there's the roll pins. You can see them right here. So the roll pins are in. Let me set you up right here. so you can see what's going on with the spring. Basically what you're going to do is pull this back out to the lever. You're going to pop, there's a little knob in here that your spring goes on, and you may have to wiggle this spring in there just a little bit to get it in there. And we will take our ratchet wrench and there it is, guys. The spring back in. Let's test the door and see if it shuts any better than it did before. If you remember the first of the video, how it shut. Make sure I get I laid my sweatshirt in there so I don't get the seat dirty. Come on, baby, focus for me. There we go. Much better. Much better. And that is the ENDURAPIN door pins. So guys, that's going to end this video. That's all there is to it. I didn't time lapse anything. The only thing I did was put the pins and hung the door, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So you should be able to get that, and driving those roll pins in, you should be able to get that no problem. Just use needle nose. Make sure that your pins are located to outside where you can drive those pins straight in, because once you get those knurled pins in there, they won't spin for you. That's all for this video. If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching. Guys that's coming back to watch more content on the old S10, maybe this winter we'll start tearing out the motor and transmission and get that in. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and again, I'll put all the tools and all the parts that I used in the description below. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.